To get your fix. Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready to get your fix? With the Wicks here on this beautiful Wednesday, February 9th, 2022, and welcome to the show, whether that be on Facebook or on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, hit the like, hit the share. You know, the same spiel like always. YouTube, hit the subscribe. Be much appreciated. It's this color red if you're on YouTube, just so you guys know. Well, I think it's this color red. I don't know. But welcome to the show. I'm excited to be here. Was really unsure what the hell we were going to talk about today, but we figured some stuff out. We dived into the world of the NFL. We'll bring that to you guys. Obviously, the Washington Commanders, which was once the Washington football team, is under investigation again. We'll talk about that and what it kind of all entails going forward. We're also going to have to dive into the NFL, looking at Germany to potentially, I guess, host some games in Germany, which was, agreed upon. I believe it was today they agreed upon some locations. We'll talk about that. We're going to dive into a little bit of the Brian Flores situation because Roger Goodell actually released a statement on that whole situation, and we'll kind of talk about that, dive into it a little bit. And then after that, we also got to talk about Manningcast. The Manningcast was a huge hit this year. It was on ESPN2, where basically it was a bunch of, Eli Manning, Peyton Manning sitting together talking about football. It was more of a podcast situation with the game on the side, so you could kind of watch the game, but at the same time, you were more following along with, said conversations with whoever the heck they had on there. They had they had multiple great guests: Pat McAfee, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. The list literally goes on and on how many guests they actually had. Typically 4 a game, sometimes 3, and you get it. This week, Super Bowl week, right? We got to dive into the Super Bowl. We probably won't do that today. We'll probably dive into that tomorrow briefly because tomorrow is the NFL awards ceremony where they dish out the MVP, the Coach of the Year, the Offensive Player and Defensive Player of the Year, and all that sort of stuff. So I'll give you my 2 cents on who I think should, potentially win those awards, even though my, what I say won't matter. Okay, they've already been obviously decided. They had to have been probably by the beginning of this week so that they can get the whole ordeal set up and ready to rock and roll so the thing goes smoothly or the program goes smoothly. But it's Super Bowl week, Super Bowl 56, home of the Los Angeles Rams in SoFi Stadium. Will be taking on the Cincinnati Bengals in the Super Bowl this year. Who would have ever thought, right, that the Bengals would have made it to the Super Bowl this year, especially with the history that they have of being a franchise that really is, always towards the bottom of the league, not a team that really makes a lot of noise, or turns a lot of heads. They had a couple years here and there where they've made the playoffs, but they get an early exit and all that stuff. So they've kind of been irrelevant, if you will, but now, hey, it seems as if they got a culture built around him. Joe Burrow, he's fucking, Joe Shiesty out there, Joe Brrr, stuff like that, but we'll dive into that probably tomorrow and Friday because obviously I want to talk about the Super Bowl with guest hosts of the show, Y4, or John, as you know him. He should be here, hopefully, and then possibly Logan Baumgart. All right, we'll talk about that. Both those guys were in the Get Your Fix Fantasy Football League. I lost, okay? Austin ended up winning that whole situation, that whole ordeal, so congratulations to him. But we got to dive into the world of what is, the NFL, the National Football League, because we're almost done with football, and that stinks. Okay, Sunday will be the last game of the season. It's over. We're down to 1. So with that being said, are you ready to get your fix? So, like we kind of brought up briefly, the Washington Commanders
have been under some heat as of late, actually the past couple years, with their owner Dan Snyder being at the forefront of it all. There's a lot of allegations kind of going around of, workplace misconduct and a lot of weird stuff kind of happening over there. I'm not really sure the whole details of it, but he's definitely made some questionable decisions that we don't know, and all the decisions that are basically behind the scenes with his workers and his employees that work for him, whatever, and stuff like that. So they did come out, I believe it was yesterday or 2 days ago, probably it was Monday, where basically the Washington, or Dan Snyder said, hey, look, all right, Jesus, we're gonna conduct our own investigation because of Miss Johnston's allegations against us. We're gonna launch that, our own investigation. Okay, well that kind of seems a little odd, because if you're investigating yourself, you're definitely going to forget about everything that actually happened and tell your own side of the story, and leave out what potentially might be the truth and what actually happened and stuff like that. So today Roger Goodell actually stepped in and said, not today, okay? Because he went on and mentioned he had a press conference, the Super Bowl press conference that he does every single year on a certain day. Today was the day at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so 2 p.m. Central Time. He basically said, he's like, I don't understand how a team can conduct their own investigation on themselves. It just doesn't make any sense. And it doesn't make any sense, okay? Because like I just mentioned, okay, like let's say I stole something from a store, all right, and they're going back and forth. Hey, you did this. And I'll be like, oh, okay. Well, how about this? I'll launch an investigation to see if that is the truth, what you're alleging, okay, and we'll get to the bottom of this. That doesn't make any sense, because obviously, if I launch the investigation, nothing's gonna come out of it. I'm gonna get out scot-free. Like nothing is gonna happen to me. Blah blah blah. It's bullshit. All right, so Roger Goodell basically said, all right, hold the horses here. You're not conducting the investigation. We are. As reported, I guess, by Adam Schefter on Twitter, or from @NFLPR guy, it says, who says the league and not Daniel Snyder, who's the owner of the Washington Commanders, and the Washington Commanders will conduct its own independent investigation into allegations levied against the Washington franchise. So basically what that's saying is the NFL is launching their own investigation, and it's going to be the only one out there. Washington can't conduct their own investigation because they're not going to find shit, especially with the whole email scandal with John Gruden, and he ended up getting fired and stuff like that. The FBI had to come in and do their own little, hoorah and thing by themselves. But the NFL is definitely going to be looking into this themselves. They also said last week the league stated that we will review and consider Miss Johnston's allegations as we would any others regarding workplace conduct at the Washington Commanders. The league, not the team, will conduct an independent investigation and will be retaining an investigator to determine the facts shortly. So the NFL kind of stepped in, basically said, all right, look, you're doing some fishy shit, and we're going to figure it out. We're going to get the facts right. We're going to hire our own investigator. We're going to do our own investigation. And if you did what you did, consequences are going to become. That could be, losing a draft pick. That could be a huge fine or a settlement or something like that. It could be, the owner getting kicked out of the league, because apparently the owners have the absolute right to kind of say, let's vote this owner out of the league. He now no longer owns said team. And then they can kind of, that team or that organization kind of conduct their own hiring process, or like who's going to own, like the Denver Broncos. They're up for ownership or new ownership, and they're kind of looking for their own guy, doing interviews and figuring all that whole situation out or whatever. But Washington has been a sketchy place, apparently, for quite some time. Dan Snyder is probably not the greatest man on earth, because of what I've been hearing and what you guys have probably heard as well, with just workplace misconduct. I mean, there was the whole, the cheerleader pictures being sent and stuff like that. Kind of just some scumbagish type things being put in place over there in Washington. And he thought, or thinks probably, that he can get away with it because, hey, I own the Washington Commanders. This is my team. This is my organization. I get to choose the rules and I get to do what I want to do. Yeah. No, you don't, buddy. Okay? As much as this is a free country, can't be doing that type of shit. So there's a big investigation going on there. I mean, let's get rid of the team. All right, move them out of Washington. Get rid of this whole. I mean, they have fucking poop pipes bursting during the middle of games, kind of giving them all a little shit down the back, if you will. Oh, couldn't even imagine. Me and John dived into that on Friday. Like, just imagine sitting there watching a game, you're cheering, and all of a sudden just covered in feces. I mean, that would not for me, but it is what it is. So Washington is definitely going to conduct their own, or they thought they were going to conduct their own interview. Roger Goodell is actually stepping in place and saying, no, the NFL is going to be investigating this because of the recent, the Brian Flores situation and all this other nonsense that has really been taking place. And speaking of Brian Flores, Roger Goodell also came out and had his own little presser on what he thought, or gave his 2 cents on what the hell is kind of happening and what is going to happen going forward. And basically, he says that the Brian Flores allegations are very, very disturbing to hear. Okay, that the integrity of the game is very important. No shit. Okay, this ain't. I mean, it's an entertainment business, obviously, but it's also a sport. Like, there's competition to be had. If games are rigged, what the fuck? If coaches are getting paid to lose games. Like, what does that say about that ownership, or the league in general, right? And he also said tanking and paying coaches to tank. He says, we're going to deal with this very seriously. Like, if we find out and we figure out that actually happened, that actually took place, and coaches or owners are saying, I'll give you a set amount of money to lose said game and get us a better draft pick, that's kind of bullshit. That's kind of, in a way, that's cheating, because you get the number 1 overall draft pick if you have the worst record in the NFL now, but you don't, at the same time, you don't really fully understand how good your team's going to be after getting a number 1 overall draft pick. I mean, the Cleveland Browns had how many? Okay? And they weren't that good for quite some time. It takes time for these things to kind of roll out the right way, in the right direction, but obviously if you get year after year of number 1 overall draft pick, you're going to be a little bit better of a franchise and a little bit better of a team. And I hope Roger Goodell and the NFL figures something out, because obviously, like I've said it multiple times, it shouldn't matter who you hire. It shouldn't matter. I should word that a little better. It shouldn't matter who the person is based on, the color of their skin, or their background, or where they come from. I mean, it just should not matter. Everyone should have an equal opportunity to be put in that type of position, to be a head coach in the NFL, to be a defensive coordinator in the NFL, and that goes for all sorts of jobs out there in the world. Like, every single job, I think everybody deserves the right and the same amount of opportunities as, obviously, Caucasians or white people like myself, because I've seen it. It's so stupid how people can be like, oh, all right, well, I ain't going to hire him because he's, African American. I'm not going to do it. Like, that's kind of stupid. In my opinion, it's like, no, if he's the more qualified guy, if he had the better interview, even though you think that interview was fugazi and you didn't care about it and you're just interviewing because, get out of here. Like, you shouldn't even be an owner. You shouldn't even be a person put in place in power to have power to do that type of stuff. It's wrong in every single way. Love everybody the exact same way until proven otherwise. You can have your own thoughts and stuff like that on other people, on certain people that you just have met throughout your life. Oh, I don't like that person. And you have to have a reason, right? If you go up to your friends and be like, something about that guy I just don't like. And they're like, well, why? Like, what about him don't you like? And if you don't have a reason, then you shouldn't not like him, right? You should like, it's a bunch of bullshit, in my opinion. Give everybody an equal opportunity. The NFL needs to look into this. They need to crack down on it. I hope the Broncos hire the African American, or the African American guy. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. He's actually going to be placing a bid for the Broncos, and if he gets the job, I think we're going to see a lot more turnover for more black head coaches in the NFL. We actually have two now, Mike Tomlin and Lovie Smith actually got the job at the Houston Texans like we brought up. So still not as much change as we would like to see. But at the same time, I think they're going to figure out a way to move forward and move past all this nonsense because we're in 2022, okay? We're not in the 1700s. We're not in the 1800s. Get over yourself. Who gives a shit, okay? Let's move forward in our life. And like I said, respect everybody, like everybody, until proven otherwise. So moving off those two, kind of weird subjects, if you will. Not really weird, but kind of those ones that are a little risky to talk about, a little hard to talk about, but you have to talk about them because they are a point of emphasis going into the NFL this year and into next year. What the fuck is what are they going to do? What are they going to change? What are they going to put in place so that this doesn't happen in the future? How are they going to crack down on this? It's going to be really interesting to see how that all unfolds. But as we noted earlier in this season, the NFL was looking into a potential or some potential games being played in Germany, right? They were unsure when this was going to take place. A lot of them, I think, said like 2023 was the possibility or was a possible date for them to actually have or host a game over there in Germany for the first time ever in NFL history. And they have reached an agreement to play 4 games over in Germany from 2022 to 2025, and probably for the foreseeable future after that. I'm assuming if it's a great time, if it's a great venue, just like how London's kind of always been a part of the NFL for quite some time now, I think Germany could also be another part of the NFL, but at the same time, I think it's more of a, here's your slot, here's your 4-year contract, basically. Then let's go get a game in China. Let's give them a 4-year game, or let's go over to Japan. Let's give the whole world the opportunity to see what the National Football League is like. But like I said, I don't know anything, right? So that possibly doesn't mean anything. But Germany, for the first time ever in NFL history, will host 4 games, not 1, not 2, not 3, 4 fucking football games from 2022 to 2025, and the first location in Germany to host 2 games. So there'll be 2 locations, both hosting 2 games. The first being Munich, Germany. They'll host the first one starting next season. Most likely, I believe, I don't know what point in the season they're going to host it in, but as well as next season. Or I guess 2 in Munich, okay, we'll get back to that. 2 in Munich, the first one being next year, and 2 in Frankfurt, Germany. So 2022, 2023, 24, and 25 will all host at least one NFL regular season game. That is huge, huge news because the game is growing. It needs a bigger audience. The TV deals are getting massive. I mean, more than a couple $billion, okay, in TV deals this past off-season and whatnot. So the NFL is growing. We also talked about the home international markets where teams were able to go out and kind of pick their locations of where their team is kind of going to be established, and the jerseys can go sell there, their merchandise can go sell there, and they can really market their teams over in said country or said place. You know what I'm saying? So Germany gets 4 games. Who knows what's next to come? Like I said, China could be in the mix. Who knows? Like I'm just throwing out countries' names to spread the game worldwide instead of making it only only America. Basically, I think this game is growing and it's growing substantially. I think there's been a couple people from Germany that are actually in the league today and stuff like that. So the game is growing. It's catching traction. Obviously, it's been around for however long, right? The NFL is a great sport. We all love it. The foreigners probably not so much. They probably think it's boring because they like their soccer because that's more explosive. Apparently, that's to them. But it's a whole different culture, right? So what they like, we might not like. What we like, they might not like, and stuff like that. So just another way for the game to kind of grow. Also, they're going to be playing a game next season in the Azteca Stadium in Mexico City, Mexico. So that'll be great. I think they already played one I believe it was 2 years ago they did this. They played in the Azteca Stadium. I don't really remember too much. I wonder how hot it's going to be. What's the temp going to be like? These guys got to be hydrated. Okay, big time. A lot of cramps could happen if they're not. But this is going to likely be taking place in November, and that's per Tom Pelissero on Twitter saying that. So they will have multiple games in different locations. Who knows if London's a play? I'm assuming it would be. So maybe we got London, and then we got the Azteca Stadium in Mexico City, and then we also got the Munich game in Germany. So there could be three, different European. I guess not European because Mexico is really not. Three different countries that are going to be hosting an NFL game potentially. I'm not sure about the London situation yet. Maybe they're going to take a year off of the London part, but at the same time, we could, like I said, have one in London, have one in Mexico, and have one in Germany. For sure Germany, for sure Mexico. Unsure about the London situation. But that is a real thing. That is a real thing to be ready for, excited for. I'm pumped up. Who knows what the stadium's going to look like over there in Germany, because I'm assuming they have more soccer stadiums and stuff like that put in place for this to happen. And that's, a perfect venue to have. They're a little bit bigger, a little more seating, I believe, stuff like that. So that's going to be exciting. It's going to be electrifying. I can't wait to see what teams actually go over there, because how do they pick? London, usually it's the teams towards the bottom of the totem pole, like, say, the Jaguars used to go over there quite a bit. They still do. The teams that really don't have that great of a fan base, they're not really that good of a football team, that's where they go so they can expand their market, expand, the team and the likeliness of the team. So it'll be interesting for the first game in Munich, Germany. What teams are they going to send over? Are they going to send over the bottom of the totem pole teams? Or are they going to send, like the Dallas Cowboys, which I doubt will happen unless it's a whole away game. Okay, it has to be an away game for them. It couldn't be one of their home games like, Dallas versus blah, blah, or blah, blah, blah at Dallas. It couldn't be like that. Okay, I think Jerry Jones understands that whole situation, but it would definitely grow their market over there. Off the top of my head, let's go see if I have that. I can't remember if I have that picture still of the home markets. No, I don't know if I do. No, I don't think I do. Well, that's all right. That's okay. But maybe it's the teams that, chose Germany as one of their home markets, obviously, to have, their games. I'm not sure which ones those are, but you have the teams that are consistently winning, celebrate the first game in Germany. I don't know. Okay, I'm not part of the committee to, plan the games, when they're going to happen, when they're going to take place, and all that nonsense. But that is a real thing. I'm pumped for it. You guys should be as well, okay? On other news, ESPN has announced that Peyton and Eli will continue Manningcast through 2024. And I believe, I'm not really sure if it was extended, but I think it was, because I think this was a deal through the 2023 season. So, no, yeah. So we got next season and then the year after that, and then the year that starts the 24-25 season, I think that's the year they're kind of extending it maybe one more year. I'm not really sure how that all works, because, obviously this is the 2021-2022 NFL season, so there's like two different dates. Well, what the fuck does that mean? But they're going to continue doing this through 2024. I'm excited for it. I really liked it the whole season because it gave you a chance. It's like literally like you get to sit down with the boys, watch a football game, have your own side conversations while trying to keep up with the game, trying to be focused on the game or said game, whatever is kind of taking place. But it really gives you that sense of, oh, okay, like, they're just one of the boys. Like, they're just that is exactly what we all do. We sit around, watch football, get excited about it, get pissed off about it. Like, there's many moments where Peyton was like, oh, did all that whole thing. Like, why would you do so? And there's a lot of guessing. Like, oh, I bet it's a pass play here. Or I bet they run it up the gut. I've done that with my friends many times. Okay, we kind of try to guess the plays, add a little bit more spunk to the game, a little bit more spunk to watching it and stuff like that. So I'm excited for this. Their guests are electrifying. They had The Rock on there the last time. He was fun to watch. Okay, fucking drinking, pounding tequila, whatever the case was. But I'm all for it. Okay, a lot of people didn't like it because it took away from the game itself, took you away from watching the game, so you really couldn't get a good understanding of what the hell was happening. I liked it basically because you got to hear all these different stories, all these different side of things, why people love the NFL or football in general, and what got them started in football, and why they chose a different path, and all that kind of, different routes, I guess, or different personalities and different characteristics and all that stuff of these people. And I can't wait. Who knows how many more guests they're going to have on next year, because I feel like they had a lot of guests this year. Like I said, I could go on and on about how many guests they had, but there probably will be a couple returning guests, obviously, but who knows? I'm all for it. 2024 or through 2024, the Manning cast will be on with Peyton and Eli Manning. So I'm pumped for it. You guys should be as well. I just got kind of a notification. It's kind of cool. On Sunday, this is Field Yates. He tweeted. He said, on Sunday, Rams left tackle Andrew Whitworth, who is also a Cincinnati Bengal, so I think he obviously wants the Rams to win so that he can get his ring, but if the Bengals win, I think he's going to be just as happy. But on Sunday, Rams left tackle Andrew Whitworth become the first offensive lineman in his 40s to ever play in a Super Bowl. So congratulations to him on a fucking legendary career. Really didn't get to know too much about the guy other than he's one of the best tackles in the National Football League. And it's about damn time that he has a chance and an opportunity to be a champion, to be immortalized forever, to never be forgotten, and be on top of the world at one point in his career. And he definitely deserves it. I mean, he's been through hell and back. I guarantee you, I can almost guarantee you that after the season, win or lose, I feel like Whitworth might hang it up and go do something else. So hopefully he has a good game. Hopefully the Rams end up winning for his sake. Like I said, we're going to make our picks Friday for the Super Bowl, who I think is going to win, who I don't think is going to win, and why. So will John or Y4, maybe Logan as well. If he's here with us, I'll still have his pick on hand just in case. But I'm excited. Look, the season's almost over, so that's not exciting. But I think we've had a fantastic year, a year of growth, a year of exciting days, down days where I'm just like, that was a hell of a show. I'm pumped up as soon as I get off here. Or the days like, could have done better. All right, a lot of breaks, and I think one thing I learned this whole season was don't take any breaks. I think I did learn that. I think taking a day off, I understand it. It's okay. But then coming back that day after the day off, it's kind of like, what the fuck? Like, you kind of lose that mojo. You lose that, how do you want to say? I don't know. You don't really lose it. It's just kind of, you got to, get it kick-started again. Fucking pull that cord, on like a lawnmower. And puffs, so you got to give it one more, and then it finally just cruises, right? And I think that is, but this has been a fun year. Who knows what I'm going to be doing after the Super Bowl. I know a lot of people are probably taking breaks. I'm probably going to be still sticking on the show, maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We're definitely going to be talking about the USFL, a new league. It's a spring league. There's multiple teams. There are 8 teams in that league. That'll be interesting to kind of watch. The XFL is not happening this year. It's going to be happening next season. I'm pumped up for that, but that's a year away or over a year away. But thank you guys so much for tuning in every single day if you could, or whenever you guys are able to do so. It's been an honor. It's been a pleasure. I love doing what I do, and continue to watch, continue to get your fix, continue to learn about this wonderful sport that we call the National Football League. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, that is all I have for you today. We will be back here, tomorrow. I guess real quick, let's dive. We'll do that tomorrow because I think the award ceremony is later. I think it's like 7 or 8. We'll give you my picks then. We'll give you my MVP, my coach of the year, my comeback player of the year, offense, defense player of the year, offense, defensive rookie of the year, and a couple of those. Okay, so we'll dive into that, obviously, tomorrow. So have a great one. Be safe. Enjoy this nice weather while it lasts, because Saturday is going to be a cold one over here. But be safe. Have a great one. Continue to get your fix. Thank you for watching, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube. If you're on Facebook, hit the like, hit the share. We can only grow this thing. We can't shrink it. On YouTube, hit that subscribe button. It would be much, much appreciated. And have a great one, folks. We'll see you tomorrow, 6 p.m. Central Time. And you just got your fix. What a Wicks. Peace out, folks. Have a great one.